Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to another Monday night, which means another Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I will start off the evening with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV. Lord, there's a lot of reality TV on right now. And I love you guys who come out here and hang with me every Monday night. And those of you who watch on replay as well later in the week. Welcome to all of you. Hope y'all are having a blast. God, it's been a busy week. Again, a lot of reality TV. We got the Houston Rodeo going on down here. We're going to try to talk a little bit about. Oh, am I frozen? I might be frozen. Let's see. I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm going to come right back. Well, let's see. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. If I'm not there, raise your hand and tell me yourself. You know what I mean. Froze there for a second. I guess all my excitement about reality TV and all so many shows on just overwhelmed my laptop. It couldn't keep up. Yeah, I'm from Texas. We're supposed to speak kind of slow, but there's a lot to talk about this evening. So sorry for that little hiccup, but there you go. Welcome to all of y'all. Hope you're doing fantastic. Before we go any further, well, I'm still on here. Maybe someone's trying to send me a message. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, turning on notifications, hitting the old thumbs up. It's always appreciated. We're in kind of the beginning slope. This is like the roller coaster. We're on that hill that's starting to go up. At the peak, you're getting into the Big Brother, which is already casting. So hint, hint, for those of you who haven't sent in your video yet. And as long as you're eligible, if you're Canadian, I understand. Sorry, guys, nothing personal on that. But if you're Canadian, if you're underage, I get it. The rest of y'all, need to be sending in a video, because why not? But yeah, that's certainly the peak of reality TV season. So we'll talk about it all this evening. All right, let me check and see who's out here first, and then we'll get right into it. So much to talk about. All right, let's see. Patricia Miller. Howdy, Patricia. How are you doing as well? Kennedy Franklin. Dealing with a bad allergy cold. I am sorry about that. I think there's a lot of that going around. I know there's a lot of it going around. Hay fever, cold, just a little bit of everything. I hope you're feeling better, Kennedy. I'm glad I can spend a little time with you this evening. Maybe make you forget about it for a little bit. So I hope you're doing better here before too long. Marilyn Southern. Marilyn, how are you, my friend? Desiree Watts. See, I did so well for a while. Desiree, how are you? Carol Mosher as well. Hey, Carol. And Ma, God, there we go. Just one of those kind of Ma, how are you doing? I hope school's treating you well so far. And Paul Long as well. Howdy, Paul. Let's see. Mark Taylor. Mark, I hope you're bringing the questions again tonight. Karen Loveland. Cindy Hire. Cindy, I saw a picture. Who are you posing with? I can't remember now, but that was pretty cool. Let's see. Had photo with Seth Green and Michael Ironside at Emerald City Comic Con. I remember seeing you. Seth Green is what really caught my attention. That's pretty cool. I've always impressed Cindy. So I howdy to you as well. Michelle Moore, Colleen as well. Hey guys, my fingers are fat fingers tonight. All right, Ed as well. Ed, how are you doing, sir? Let's see. Michelle Moore, Donnell Madera, Amanda as well. Hey, Amanda. Ken T, Andy W. Let's see who else we got on here. Scooting on through. Jacqueline Newberry. Howdy, Jacqueline. And I think that's about Misfire. God, Misfire wasn't gonna miss you. And Tracy Muggenfuss sure didn't want to miss you as well. All right, guys. A lot of y'all out there. Always gives me kind of a warm fuzzy when I see y'all's names out there. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. We're down here in Houston celebrating our couple of weeks of spring. Finally got over the cold snap. We'll get a couple of good weeks. And then what do I say? April showers bring May flowers. We got a little rain now, and then we'll be April showers brings 120-degree heat down here in Texas. So I'm enjoying it while I can. Of course, it doesn't matter. I don't get a chance to go outside because I'm so busy watching all the reality TV. I was trying to do my prep this evening, just remembering all the shows that are on. There's so many of them. I hope I got all of them. I try to. Uh, so we'll talk about them. What ones are y'all watching? What ones are y'all really enjoying? Now, I always say spoiler warning before we talk about individual shows. Guys, tonight, I feel like it's all going to be spoilers. We got a couple of shows that are either over or just about over. We'll talk about who's doing well and not in those shows. We got a couple that just started. We'll be talking spoilers on that. It's just going to be a spoiler rich environment this evening. So be warned. If you don't want the spoilers, spend the next 24 hours catching up on all these different shows and then come back and watch it on replay. I do have it posted on YouTube live. So YouTube. So you'll be able to go out and watch it a little bit later. All right. With all that being said, let's just get to the questions because I know y'all got a lot of them. All right. Patricia Miller, just watch. And we've got our own kind of reality TV that doesn't have anything to do with what you see on TV. Because Patricia's saying, just watch the Jackson Michie interview with Julie. Wow is all I can say. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Julie Chen does the God 101 YouTube. I guess it's on YouTube, right? I think it is, where she talks to various past Big Brother house guests about their relationships with God and what they've been up to and things like that. Well, Jackson Michie talk to Julie. He has been up to a lot. Yeah, obviously he won my season. I tried. He won my season. He won $500,000. But since then, he's moved multiple times. He got married. He had a baby. I think he's back. I think he's back home in Nashville. I can't keep up with him anymore. Jackson's one of those. Every once in a while, we'll text, but don't talk to him a whole lot anymore. Yeah, he's got a lot going on. But he came on. A lot of people surprised because obviously he didn't get a great reception when the season wrapped up. He was kind of the pariah for a lot. He still is. A lot of people just, not their cup of tea for a lot of different reasons. And so I think people were a little bit surprised to get Jackson onto the show with Julie, that she would bring him on. But I gotta say, I'm glad she did. I'm glad he got a chance to, do I hate to call it a redemption tour because I think that gives a wrong connotation. But I'm glad he got to talk about where he's at now and what his life has been like and all that. And I saw people post out there say, "Oh, I hope he's doing horrible. Karma strikes back." No, I don't care. Anyone on any of these shows, no matter how much of a villain you think they may be, at the end of the day, they're still real people. And I'm glad he kind of got his act together. He talked about that. He blew through all his money, which I already knew that was a bit of an issue. Blew through all of his money, was certainly a little lost, a little bit just blowing every which way the wind blows to some degree. So I'm glad that he kind of has pulled himself together. So props to Jackson Michie. But yeah, I know people were surprised to see it. But yeah, so yeah, he did that, and again, he's still he's doing fine now. It sounds like so I was glad to see that. All right, Carol Mosier saying Traitors season 3 US. How did you feel about the finale? Moss saying that he had mixed thoughts, and then Mark is saying Ed saying Dolores is a Traitors champion. I kind of liked it. I have told y'all before that Brittany is one of my all-time favorites on Big Brother. I just thought she was always hilarious in the diary rooms. I always felt bad for her when she got blindsided by the brigade right at the end of her season and all that. There's a lot of things I like about Brittany. I've met Danielle, incredibly nice person. I was so honored that she even knew who I was when we met. So nothing against either one of those. But for a couple of different reasons, I'm okay that they got sent home. One, I just feel like Danielle overacted a little bit at times. It's hard. How do you balance what your emotions should be in that game? And I think she did a good job. But I'm not, I'll say it this way. I'm not surprised that people started identifying her a little bit once you got down to 6 people, especially. But here's the thing. I have nothing against the two of those. I was kind of glad to see them both booted, only because we hadn't seen all the traitors get eliminated before, right? I think I'm frozen again. I don't. Let's see. I'm gonna pause it for a second. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. All right, bear with me, and we'll There we go. All right, guys. Apologies. I don't know what's going on. The Lord, the gods are working against me today or something. Yeah. So I don't know what I said. What I was saying was that I really didn't mind see the two of them booted as much as I like both of them, just because it was our first chance to see the traitors get beat in the end. That no traitor was left at the very end. It was the four of them. And it was every bit as exciting as if there was a traitor left, because it was that whole deal of, are they all going to agree to stop playing, or is someone going to throw in? Remember, if someone throws in a red fire or whatever, then they have to boot someone out and they do it again. And again, spoilers, rich environment, but all four of them agree to stop. I like that. I wanted to see the four of them win. And I think, because what they win, $50,000 each, nothing to sneeze at, right? I'd love to have someone give me a check for $50,000. Of course, but you think they have to pay Scottish taxes since it was filmed in Scotland, or do they just pay do they have to pay LA taxes, or do you just pay whatever your home state? I don't know how that works, but by the time all the different taxing entities get in, they probably had enough enough money to buy a couple of servings of haggis on the way home or something. But no, they all won. None of them won a massive amounts of money. And I got to say, those were not the four people that I ever would have picked to win at the end. I completely blew it in terms of picking who I thought would make it to the end. Think of all the people we had on there. Wes and Boston Rob and Danielle and Brett, all those people. And the four that win it are Gabby and Dolores and Dylan and Ivers. I probably would not have been able to tell you who a single one of those four people were before this season started. And they do it. They did it. And props to Dylan. I feel like he came close to getting booted at the end. Brittany tried to go after him, didn't quite work out, but I thought he did a fantastic job of sussing stuff out and staying on the right side and taking care of business. So of all four of them, if I had to award an MVP, it would probably be to Dylan. I thought he did fantastic. I did see a little bit of an after show. I saw the reunion, which was interesting in and of itself. Oh, Bob the drag queen is quite the large personality, isn't he? He had a lot to say, but I did see one conversation where Brittany was saying, look, those are not the people I would have had at the final five if it was up to me, but I was a faithful until I got recruited. I had no choice. These were all Danielle's people that she wanted. And so I was kind of, someone asked her, said, what was your mistake, or where did it go wrong for you? She said, my mistake, or where it went wrong, was when I got picked to be a faithful and not a traitor, because I didn't control who made it to the end. It's a valid point. If you're faithful, I guess you maybe don't have quite as much control over how that game plays out. So yeah, you work with what you have. She tried. She did everything she could. I actually don't think that Brittany really did anything that caused her to get cut. It's just the odds were stacked against her. She was smart that remember she got that seer power. She could have come in and said, oh, Gabby's the traitor. They'd figured out if she said that, both of them would have been in trouble. So I thought she played it correctly. It just didn't work out in the end. Really love the season. Every season of the Traitors, I feel, has gotten a little bit better. And I don't know if it's because the players are playing the game better, or because we're starting to understand the game a little bit more. Although I will say my favorite of all time episodes of the Traitors, I think it was season 2, where the person who drank from the glass of wine was the one who got murdered. I thought that was kind of cool. I wish they'd bring it back, but I really love this season. Loved it so much that we're now watching Traitors UK season number 3, which is Amy Bonner saying started the Traitor UK season 3 and watching Extracted. I think we're through like the first 3 episodes of the Traitors UK season 3, which is kind of cool because that one doesn't have reality TV alumni. It's got all people that no one knows. So no one comes in with existing relationships, well, except for 2 sisters. But other than that, no one has existing relationships. Everyone kind of a clean slate. It's kind of cool to watch people playing the game that don't have reputations about them. Now, having said that, I'd love to play Traitors myself, but I do like kind of seeing just the folks who we don't know anything about and seeing who kind of rises to the occasion and who doesn't so much, who gets a little cocky, who gets a little quiet. There's a lot of that. My only issue with the Traitors UK is I've been all over the world, right? I've talked to a lot of people in a lot of different languages and all of that. There are some accents on Traitors UK that I need to turn on closed captions because I can't pick up half of what they're saying. It was rough when I spent some time in Aberdeen, Scotland, trying to ride with a taxi driver who thought he was speaking English to me. I'm sure he was, but I couldn't understand the word he was saying because his Scottish brogue was so strong. I feel like that sometimes watching this episode of Traitors, but uh, I can't complain. They're playing a game that originated over there that's being played in a Scottish castle and all that. But it looks like it's going to be a good season as well. So yeah, absolutely loving the Traitors. Fantastic. I'm ready for season 4. You mentioned Extracted. I'm loving that game as well. Sharon, you know why I like that game? For those of you who don't watch it or haven't watched it, you've got two people. You've got one person out in the woods that's having to survive, and these aren't Tom Hanks castaway type people that just have figured stuff out. They're people who can't even start fires out there. They're trying to survive. They've got two loved ones, friends, parents, etc., that are back in this comfortable headquarters, and those two people get to decide when to extract the person who's stuck out in the woods. It's not like some of these shows where you decide, you pull your flare gun and you're out. No, your loved ones have to decide. And so it's a lot of stress on them to decide when has your loved one had too much and when's it time to pull them out of the game and give up on trying to win the money. So it's a fun show to watch because I know Sharon and I watch it. I know beyond any doubt, Sharon would never be out in the woods. It would come down to me being out there. So all of our conversations were, would you have pulled me if I started saying that, Sharon? Or would I do that? What do I do? And Sharon's pretty much every time saying, "Yeah, no, you're out there forever. You'll adjust." I don't like the cold, but I would do okay. I certainly wouldn't give up as quick as some of these people would. I think I'd do okay on that show. But yeah, I'm loving Extracted too. Having fun with that. All right, Janet Johnson. Janet, how are you doing? I didn't say howdy on the comments. I hope you're doing fantastic. Are you watching Survivor? If so, who are your favorites? Oh, yeah. I've got Instagram's got this new thing out there where all these people are posting stories saying, I'm not ashamed to admit. Well, here's mine, not ashamed to admit. I am not ashamed to admit that I don't know everyone's names just yet. I'm still trying to figure out who is who on these different tribes and figure out the tribes themselves. Big Jake 88 is out there as well. Howdy, Jake. How are you? And Misfire saying, California Girls Alliance and Survivor USA. People don't like, is it Saya? I keep wanting to say Sia, but I know it's not that. But she's awesome. Well, let's talk about that and Survivor. We're in 2 episodes in. I thought she was in trouble this past week. And Mark Taylor saying, does Mitch, Kevin, or David have a chance of going somewhere on Survivor? Yeah, I think I told you before it started. Mitch was kind of my favorite just because he's from Texas. He came in with a little bit of a stutter, which I always am cheering for the people who are, a little bit extra of an underdog. And I feel like he felt like that. And probably a lot of other people would feel like that as well. So yeah, I'd love to see him do well. As far as the other guys, yeah, it's so early. We just haven't seen these tribes yet. But with Saya, I thought she was in trouble. Now she holds, she held, again, spoilers. She held an immunity idol. In a way, it's a shame that she had to play it when she did. But at least it got flushed out. In some ways, maybe that helps her. I was thinking that she was not going to play it, get sent home. That'd be the end of it. Instead, Kevin went home, right? I think I'm trying to get all my notes here. Yeah, Kevin went home for Survivor. He actually went after her. He thought that he could, I guess, get her out without her playing the idol. Thought he had the guys all aligned with him. You're right. She's playing a pretty awesome job. If you ask me, just based on the edit that we're seeing on the CBS episodes, I feel like she's playing a little too hard. I said that last week as well. She's a little bit. She's nowhere close to the way Tucker was on Big Brother. But certainly she's playing the game so hard. I think that could bite her a little bit later. She no longer has an idol. We'll see this coming up week if perhaps people say, hey, as hard as she's playing the game, we know that she's not protected now since she used the idol. So maybe this is where we need to get her out while we still can. Of course, because it's Survivor, there's only a 1 in 3 chance that she's going to go to tribal council, right? There's a good chance that their tribe will survive. I don't know, their tribe. So their tribe has some issues. So maybe it's not a 1 in 3 chance, but if her tribe doesn't go to tribal council, she has some time to build up some alliances again and all of that. I don't know. I will say this again. I need to figure out the names a little bit better. We'll talk more about it with a little bit more confidence. But again, I've liked the cast so far. The girl who and y'all tell me her name, who's talking about being autistic and all, and then the guy who's watching out for her, right? I really like seeing that relationship. We'll see how it goes. It's dangerous for him, I think, to attach himself to someone so quickly just because he feels that she's really put him in her confidence and all of that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but this game has just started so quickly. There's so much left to play in the game that I think you've got to be a little bit careful with it. But Eva and Joe, all right, thank you so much. Yeah, I just like their relationship because it seems to me, and it could all be cutthroat, it could all be lies and everything else, but I feel like we're getting a little window of humanity from those two where they're almost stepping back from the game for just a second and just respecting each other and trusting each other and feeling comfortable with each other. It could all change next week. Things tend, as soon as someone is at risk to go home, lots of things can change very quick. But at least for now, if nothing else, I'm glad Survivor gave us that little edit and just showed us a little bit of pulling back for the game and reminding us these are regular old people playing this game. Janet is saying, thinks she wasted her idol. Well, but would she have gone home otherwise? There were, what is it, 2-1 vote to send out Kevin. So is that 3 votes? I can't remember. Would she have gone home otherwise? I feel like it would have been a tie, perhaps. I don't remember now. Yeah, she may have wasted it, but was it the last season, the season before? So many people went home with idols in their pockets. And think about this. This was filmed, I guess last spring, last fall, probably last fall, I assume. So they got to watch last spring's 2 seasons ago. And I think that's where so many people went home with idols in their pockets. So yeah, I'm not surprised that she was playing a little safe rather than risky and going ahead and using that idol no matter what. It's so early in the game that you don't want to go home with an idol. I don't blame her for playing it. And there were certainly rumors. It's not as though she just out of the blue decided she was at risk. And it's not like Christy from my season of Big Brother, Brussels sprouts and I'm going home. Nah, there were real reasons that she thought she could be going home. And there were certainly Kevin was going after her. So I think it's valid that she played the idol. Sometimes it gets flushed. Maybe that gives her a little protection just because she doesn't seem like a threat now at this point in time. I think there'll be a lot of people looking for that idol over the next week or so, right? That's what's funny. We're talking about next week. For them, it's what, 1 day or whatever. They come back to camp and probably by the next morning, they're all out running everywhere looking for these idols. But yeah, I've got mixed feelings about Sia. I really think that she's playing a little too hard, but sometimes maybe that's what it takes. I can't fault the fact that she's still here and she's controlling some of the activity right now. She's owning what she does, whether she goes home or not. She is owning and taking control of what she's trying to do. She's not going to go home because she was a passive player. That's for sure, right? She's kind of like Frenchie from Big Brother. She just wants to come in there from day number 1 and get the ball rolling. And I was a little different. Now in Big Brother on first day, I did try to get nominated for camp director because I felt like I was already at risk because of my age and all that. But once that happened, I tried to step back as best I could for a little bit. I still got nominated the first week, so I'm not sure how well that worked. But I tried not to be on the radar at the very beginning. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Look on here. Misfire. If you were on Survivor, how would you use the shot in the dark? I cannot figure out the shot in the dark. It's a 1 in 6 chance, right? It's rolling a dice. I've played Yahtzee. I've played craps in Vegas. I know what it's like trying to get just that right roll. Uh, and you're giving up your vote in order to play it. So how would I use it? I think I would use shot in the dark more as a threat than an actual usage. If I really thought I was at risk, I would suggest that I was going to use a shot in the dark. I think I would go out of my way. I think I would go out of my way to tell people, look, I know you're voting for me. I know you're trying to send me out the door. Nothing, send me off down. Nothing personal, but I just don't Joe, don't lie to me. I know you're voting me out, whether they were or not. Maybe say something like that so that they think I'm much more likely to play my shot in the dark, that I'm much more likely to play an idol if I have it. But on the other hand, if they think you're going to play the shot in the dark, then it also means that you're giving up your vote. And when you only have 6 people on a tribe, losing your vote is huge. Suddenly, it only takes 3 people to send someone out the door, and there's not even a tie, right? So I think if I could survive without playing my shot in the dark until after the tribes merge, when there's more people and there's less impact if you lose your vote, I tend to think I would try to hold on to it till after then, and then use my shot in the dark brass. And was it last season where they all gave up their shot in the dark in exchange for rice? I didn't think that was a great idea. I think you can still use shot in the dark, but I just see it being used as a little bit more of a threat than an actual strategy. If you play it and it's that 1 in 6 chance, well, then bully on you, and you've absolutely survived. But I don't want my game to depend on a 1 in 6 chance of rolling a die, which is basically what it is. I'll be real honest. I would be fine if they got rid of shot in the dark. Do it a little bit different. Turn it into some kind of a skill type something to give you some kind of immunity if you want. Do something a little bit different than just a outright shot in the dark, because I don't know. I'm not sure I like the randomness of it, but it does add a little intrigue to the tribal councils. Mark is saying, any word on the Big Brother start date? No, not yet. They're casting. Casting's been going on for 3 weeks or so. What is this Karen saying? What if Big Brother hid idols in the house? Oh, you know what? There is not a place in that house that I didn't know every little inch of it, because I watch Big Brother. I know that, well, first of all, as far as Big Brother I don't know. They're still casting, I assume, anywhere from mid-June to right after the 4th of July. I hope it's earlier rather than later, but they haven't announced it yet. Haven't seen the CBS schedule for the summer yet either. As far as the idols in the house, I would have found them all, because I think I would have, because I was so focused on figuring out a good hiding place for hide and go veto, which was still a thing when we played my season. I knew every little hole in the baseboards underneath the kitchen. I knew where there was a little hole underneath the bed in the boat room, or the couch, or whatever, the recliner in the boat room. I knew that if you felt up under the wheel well of the RV kind of room, that there was a big open area that went up 2 or 3 feet above there. I actually had planned to put my idol potentially there, but then when they gave us the idols, instead of it being little like this, it was a big thing. I wasn't sure it'd fit in that wheel well. So I ended up putting it in the bathroom instead. But I knew every spot of that freaking house, inside and out. So yeah, I think I would have been able to find that idol pretty quickly. You'd have to hide it really well. You'd have to have one of those little tiny idols like they do on the little micro veto competitions, and have a little thing, the size of a thimble, and hide it somewhere for us not to be able to find it. I do like the idea. Now, maybe not hiding an idol, because that's a little tough to do, but I do kind of like the idea that maybe as part of a twist, some Big Brother season, that you could have some kind of idol where you win immunity. Remember one year there was a phone booth and you had to figure out what number to dial, and it let you into what is now the have not room, and you could win protection there. I wish they'd do some things like that, where if you're smart enough and you're observant enough, that you can win some kind of protection or something while you're in a Big Brother house, but not just hide the idol, because we'd all be looking too close. You're trapped inside with nothing whatsoever going on. I'd love to have some kind of challenge like they do on Survivor where you'll have protection, but only if you can do the following. And do a little bit like Eric Stein from Big Brother 8, where you have to mimic one of the other people and you have to get someone to, I don't know, scratch your back or cry while telling you a sad story or something, just to make the days a little more interesting while you're in the house. That would be so much fun. I'd love to see that. All right, Brian is saying, hey, Brian, how are you? I submitted my Big Brother application last week. Well, congratulations. That's step number one, right? There's a few steps involved, but if you don't do step number one, guaranteed there's no step number 2, 3, 4, or 5. So good. I am keeping my fingers crossed for you. That would be a lot of fun. You never know what they're looking for. Now, when Robin Cass, now it's Jesse Tannenbaum. So, they all have their own way of doing their casting and all of that. It's all done by online now. I don't think they have many casting calls, maybe a few. But I feel fortunate that I got a chance to show up in person as opposed to sending in a video, just because I think that helped my chances a little bit. But no, Brian, you know how excited I would be to see you on there. So fingers crossed. It's not like they call me asking for input or advice, but if they do, you know who I'm going to throw out there. So that's cool. I'm glad to see that. All right, let's see. Tyson 1000. Hey, Tyson. Why sign up for Extracted when you don't know how to survive or at least prepare a little before going on the show? And then at least on Extracted, they get to keep their clothes on. Yeah. I always tease. Everyone always says, what show are you going on next? Oh, Naked and Afraid. Wouldn't that be horrible? I don't care about the nudity. I think I've said, but I don't care about the nudity. I care a lot more about getting sunburned where the sun don't shine or mosquito bites where the mosquitoes don't need to be nesting. Those are what worry me a little more than the nudity. I'm old school. I don't think that bothered me too much, but yeah, at least they have clothes on for Extracted. But I agree. I feel like they went out of their way to grab people who really have no business being outdoors anywhere beyond a KOA campground, and that'd be about it, because they just not feeling at home. And maybe it's just because we've gotten spoiled watching some of these shows where in modern day Grizzly Adams out there trying to survive. Is Grizzly Adams even a thing anymore? TV show from when I was a kid, but the mountain men out there, they just look like they could survive for years on end. Not so much these people that are going on. They're picking people that are more influencers and things like that. Alone is a show. I think it's on National Geographic. That's kind of my standby. The folks that are just out there building these amazing cabin. A lot of the people on Alone don't go home because they don't know how to survive. It's because they can't handle the mental solitude that happens on that show. It seems like they just, as long as they're busy, they do fine. Once they get everything built and some food stored up and all of that, and they don't have anything to do with their hands, is when they seem to just fall apart. And I kind of know what that was like. I know, stuck in that Big Brother house with nothing to do, and that's when your mind starts spinning. You start thinking about the worst kind of conspiracies and what's going on and all of that. But yeah, I think if I'm on Extracted, I'm at least going to get a flint and practice a little fire making. I may actually go put my toes in the lake and try to swim a little bit and at least know I know how to do a basic stroke. But then again, if you knew how to do that, there's a good chance that you probably wouldn't have gotten cast on the show in the first place. So, it is what it is. But it's tough because some of these, I guess some of that generation is like, fight through and do what it takes and all. Don't quit. I did that in Big Brother. Kat Dunn wanted to self-evict week number 1. I said, don't do it. Maybe it'll help my game if you self-evict, because I'm on the block with you, but don't do it. You will regret it for the rest of your life if you quit like that. Do not do it, Kat. And maybe she's just saying that just to get me on her side. I don't know, but she didn't do it, as we all know. But I watched that Extract and I said, don't quit. You're a little cold. Yeah, you're a little hungry. Don't quit. Just crawl under some leaves and all. So it kind of is a little irritating. Oh, yeah, here's what irritates me about it. It's when they quit and then their loved ones come up and say, oh, you did so great. You did fantastic. No, you didn't. You kind of didn't do well at all, but you want to welcome the person back. And as long as they did the best they could, I think some of the people that are cast on Extracted are cast to fail. There's no way production thought that they would ever make it past the first few episodes. How boring would the show be if you had 16 people on Extracted and none of them quit? And their family members were just sitting there for a month or two watching the show saying, well, I guess maybe once the snows come out next year, we'll see if it changes. Yeah, no, they had to get people of varying talents in order to make it what it is. But I'm enjoying the show. It's fun to put yourself in their positions of both the player and the loved ones and try to figure out what you would do as opposed to what actually happens. All right, Miss Fire is saying, my best friend has a new song debuting on American Dad. That's pretty cool. Tonight on TBS, he's singing the voice of Steve. All right, well, that's kind of cool. That'll kind of stand out on a resume, right? Yeah, not a lot of people get to do that. All right, well, that's cool. I've never watched a lot of American Dad. I need to maybe check that out because I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I had a buddy of mine, as soon as I got out of the house, I think y'all know, after I was booted or after the finale, Sharon was out there, my kids and their husband to be and wife to be were out there. My mom was out there. So I had a whole little hog family out there. And we went and saw all the typical tourist sites. All the other house guests went to Vegas and did raves and all that. Yeah, I just went down Hollywood Boulevard and went to Venice Beach and did things like that. But I had a buddy who does background animation for The Simpsons. And so we got to go to the Simpsons studio and see everything, talk to a lot of the people who do the animation, who do the coloring and everything involved with the Simpsons. And we got to see early drafts and cells up on the wall. Really cool experience. I was so grateful for that. It's incredible what some of these people can do artwork. I've never had an artistic bone in my body, but they were pretty cool. So, well, congratulations for getting to dub in a voice for a pretty popular, I was going to say cartoon, but someone get mad if you say cartoon, right? It's I know, adult animation or something. Y'all know what I mean. All right. Amy Bonner saying, if that was my kid out there, he'd still be out there the way he after the way he acted. I think you're referencing, was it week number 1? He was so certain that he was going to be out there forever. I froze up again. All right. Well, I'll do a little song and dance while I'm waiting for it to come back. I don't know what's going on. We got just a rough signal here. Let's see. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I hope y'all can still hear me. If not, then it won't be the first time I talk to a wall. All right. So here's the deal. Yeah, the first week he was so certain that he told his parents that whatever you do not extract me. I don't care what he wanted them to sign a contract that they wouldn't extract him. Well, and then he started begging to be extracted after not too long. Let's see, let's try to get the screen going again. All right, let me get this up. Yeah, suddenly his tune changed real. There we go. His tune changed real quick, right? You're right. I mean, I would have said, you know what? He's not gonna die. He'll go a little hungry, but he's not gonna die. He'll be. If I see a bear coming, then maybe I'll extract him. Till then, you'll let him stew for a couple of days. But they didn't. I think the dad wanted that. I think mom was a little more. You got to save my baby. And Sharon and I would be the same way. She would be saying, "Oh, pull him out of there." I'd be saying, "Yeah, he's down there for the next month." But yeah, it's hard because it's your loved ones. You don't ever want to see a loved one suffer. And I know when Sharon and my family watched me in the Big Brother house, it was brutal for them at times. When they saw people Christy listening in on me talking, when they saw me feeling down in the dumps at one point, trying to survive that game at the end and all, and they want to just reach out and make you feel better and do what they can. Well, they had no control. They had no agency in the game. They were just watching. So they couldn't do anything about it. It's a whole different level when you can ease their suffering. All you got to do is go push that little red button and pull them out of the game. So it really becomes this whole balancing act of, how do I feel now? How do they feel now? Versus how are they going to feel a week from now after they're out of the game and they didn't win? How solid are they in their belief, or is this just a temporary, I'm kind of miserable for the day kind of deal? And I probably shouldn't fault anyone because no one knows except those family members what's really truly going on with their loved one in the game. But yeah, it kind of irritates me. Now, towards the end of the game, when there's only 3 or 4 left and they've been out there for several weeks, a month, however long it's going to be, at that point, if one of them gets pulled, okay, you gave it a good shot. And I'm not going to fault them at all. Early, yeah, I try not to judge, but I do. All right. Colleen is saying, love the dancing and singing comp on Amazing Race. We haven't even talked about Amazing Race, right? Another show that's fantastic. Sharon and I went back and forth. Would I have done the singing? Would I have done the dancing? Now, normally, I've always said, I'm not doing the dancing. I can't imagine whoever I'm doing it with is going to appreciate my dancing style. But being in Hong Kong, knowing how difficult the Chinese language is, that's the one where I said, I may have done the dancing instead of the singing just because of my concern. Did make me feeling better when it was like a Chinese opera that they're having to sing to. So as it turns out, the dancing was a dragon, a 2-man dragon. I stand by. I think I would have done better at that one, but that was a fun challenge. One episode of The Amazing Race in, and those people did a lot in a single day. They kept them busy. For those of you who didn't watch it, there were a lot of challenges. I think the very first challenge they had, other than a whole lot of running up and down stairs and things that I would have hated, they had to crawl up a bamboo tower that looks like the Eiffel Tower of Hong Kong or something. I mean, it's a tall tower. Not quite that tall, but it's probably 120 feet or something, which was that like a 10-story building? I mean, it's a tall tower that they had to crawl up just holding on to the bamboo and all that. That was hard. I would hope if I was on the show with who knows who I'd be on with, that they would have done the tower instead of me. But otherwise, I would have crawled up that tower. But no, I love that episode. They went to Hong Kong. I've only been there a couple of times, but Hong Kong is just a really cool place to visit. I'd love to take Sharon there one of these days and just explore the city. I go down and buy me a suit. They have the 24-hour tailors. Do all the typical tourist stuff would be so much fun. I love the first week. Now the guys who went home, the 2 older guys, I'm always going to cheer for the old guys just because, but they probably were, they weren't going to win the race. So I'm glad they at least got the chance to fly. I'm glad they got to fly halfway around the world before anyone got cut. So at least, even though they got cut and their journey was cut short, surely they don't say, okay, we're going to put you on a plane in 3 hours. Get out of here. I would think they probably say, chill out. We'll do some media and stuff later. Y'all spend the next 2 or 3 days, explore the city. We'll put you up and do all kinds of fun stuff. I don't know that for certain. I just assume that's what I'd be saying is, hey, I'm over here. Well, let us explore a little bit before you boot our rear ends back home. And so at least I got to explore Hong Kong. Now, quick little story. We got enough time to tell a quick little story to Hong Kong. The first time I ever went to Hong Kong was actually on my birthday of all days. I flew from Dallas to or Houston to London, I think. Changed planes in London, had a long flight, like an 8-hour, 9-hour flight to Hong Kong. Got to Hong Kong at, 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night on my birthday. Now, because I was flying east, it meant instead of 24 hours to celebrate my birthday, because of the difference in time zones, I only had like 12 hours of birthday. I got rooked that particular birthday. Get into Hong Kong. I've been on a plane my entire birthday. Get there. Take a taxi to my hotel room, get to the hotel, quickly discover that I am staying in the world's smallest hotel room ever. I'm willing to put that up against a whole lot of other hotel rooms. I walk into this room. There's no windows. It looks like a little closet. There is just enough room for a twin bed, maybe a full bed. For a bed, one side is up against the wall. The other side has about this much room, just enough that your knees can kind of go past it. And then at the end of the bed, just enough room for the door to open up. The bathroom, there's no shower or anything else. It's just a shower head that is over the sink, and the whole room turns into a shower, toilet and everything. You just kind of stand out of the way of everything else, stand there to take a shower. The toilet the room is so small that you can't close the door while you're using the toilet, because the door had a little notch cut in it so the door could close, because the toilet seat was pushed up against the door. It was that small of a hotel room. So I get there, I throw my luggage on the bed, think, oh my God, I'm only there for one night, so it wasn't the end of the world. But by the time I get to the hotel, it's probably 11:30. I'm starving. I haven't had a chance to eat anything since we first got on the plane in London. So I go downstairs and think, all right, surely it's Hong Kong. The 24-hour city, it's like the Vegas of the East, right? Well, not so much the part I was in. I guess I was in the business part of Hong Kong. I didn't want to go too far and run the risk of getting lost and all that. So I just started walking. Every restaurant I go to is either closed or closing. They won't let me in. I finally find one, I say restaurant, actually more of a bar. It was a karaoke bar. I walk into this karaoke bar. Everyone is sitting there drinking and singing. They've got one little counter about the size of an island in your kitchen, just a little thing where you can sit. And you can order like noodles, and that's it. You want some noodles? Yeah, I'd love to have some noodles. So they bring me my noodles, and I'm drinking a Coca-Cola, eating some noodles, watching all these people singing karaoke. Pretty funny. And every song, when it ends, they come over, sing karaoke. I'm the only Westerner in this whole bar. Everyone else is locals, and they all want me to sing. And no, I'm eating. And now the Cliff Hog of today, as opposed to the Cliff Hog of 15 years ago, is a lot different. Nowadays, I would have been singing karaoke. Every other song, I would have been up there singing karaoke. I would have been singing, I don't know, Lady Gaga or Britney Spears. I would have been having fun doing the most off the wall, some Elvis and some Johnny Cash. I would have been singing everything. Me and all those local guys, we would have been best buds by the end of that thing. But no, I was a little more focused on birthday and noodles and things like that. Finish up, get back to my hotel room. The next morning, there's a taxi that's going to pick me up, take me to the ferry terminal. From the ferry terminal, I've got to take a ferry to Shekou, which is a city in China that's part of mainland China. And so I'm going to go there, and I've got a bunch of oil and gas stuff to do with a local company there. So no worries, except that the taxi doesn't show up. I'm waiting. I know this ferry is leaving at like 9:30. I'm waiting. They don't show up. So finally, I just grab a taxi. Take me to the ferry terminal. Well, I didn't realize at the time that there's actually two different main ferry terminals in Hong Kong. They took me to the wrong one. Both ferry terminals have ferries that go to Shekou, but the one I was at left much later than the one I was supposed to take at the other ferry terminal. That one was supposed to get in at 11:30 or something. This one's getting in at 1:30. So I realized there's something going on. I have to go buy a phone card, because this is before the days of phones and all of that, at least international. Call my people. They say, oh, you're at the wrong ferry terminal, Cliff. Oh, well, don't worry about it. I've got a ferry that's still going to take me to Shekou. They said, yeah, but the problem is that ferry gets in, if it's on time, it gets in at 1:30. This is a Friday. They said it gets in at 1:30. On Fridays, customs immigration closes at 2. If you don't make it to that booth in time, you can't get into Shekou until next Monday. You're stuck all weekend long, and we don't have a setup for you. You can't do your work, nothing. So you got to make it to this immigration and customs. All right. Well, I've got my own personal Amazing Race task right now. So I'm sitting on this ferry. I'm watching my watch. We get there. We're a little late. It's about 1:45 or so when the thing docks. I'm the first one off. I go running full speed down this ferry ramp, back the other direction. I can see immigration in front of me. One of the windows, it's two big sliding kind of things. One of them's already closed. The other one, I can see it halfway closing. And I run up there. I'm yelling, and I get there and I yell at them, and they stop. Probably thought, this crazy guy. But they processed my visa. I made it with about 5 minutes to spare. I was the only person like that. Everyone else had visas. They could come in and out. I was the only one trying to get a visa there, but I made it. So I was able to get into Shekou and do all my work and all of that. But yeah, that was my Hong Kong experience. So a little Amazing Race like, but I would love to go back and spend a little more time there 1 or 2 days. Now, if it's Sharon and I, we may need to get a separate hotel or get a different hotel room, because I don't think we could both fit in there. But for that one, it was, I took a lot of pictures. I wish I'd taken more back then, but it was before digital cameras as well. But yeah, I always remember that night I had in Hong Kong, karaoke in tiny little hotel rooms. So there you go. All right, Miss Fire saying you need a travel show. I'd love to. I've been to a lot of places. Yeah, there's no Paris stuff for me. I never got to go to the cool. No Hawaii. I'm going to Lagos, Nigeria, Bogota, Colombia, uh, uh, part of Patagonia, Argentina, Russia, Kazakhstan. I maybe I'll do that one of these days. Maybe off season for reality TV. I'll do it one of these days. I do. I think I may have mentioned this before. I've written down all my different travel stories, and I had those all written down when I tried out for Big Brother. I had to fill out a long application before I showed up to get videoed after they called me after the first one. And I showed up and I didn't realize that I'd left all of this information in my little envelope that had my application. I had it with me so I could go over it while I was waiting to get called in to talk to the people filming me. Well, I left it in the envelope. And later I found out that they saw that and they read through all those travel stories. And I don't know if that helped me get on the show or it didn't really matter. I kind of think maybe it helped a little bit. Didn't plan at all. I'm sure they thought that I did it on purpose. No, I just was so nervous about being filmed. I forgot that it was in the envelope, but it worked out. So yeah, I've got a few travel stories. A few of them that I didn't necessarily even tell Sharon when they happened because I may not have been allowed to travel if she knew about them. I told her later after I was home safe and sound. But not all the world's a really friendly, safe place. I've been through a few situations. We'll talk about that. I used to tell more travel stories on here. Maybe we'll start doing that a little bit more on down the road. All right, 7:56. So quick. All right, Ed is saying Parvati is going to win Deal or No Deal Island. She's such a good player. I kind of hated to see Dixon go last week. He against spoilers. I thought he was doing pretty well, but was it Lady that sent him home? She had told David, said, "Hey, if you put me up, just as punishment, I'm going to send home Dixon because I know y'all are tight and all of that." And she followed through with it. She sent him home, caught him off guard. I kind of hated to see that. I kind of liked him, but I don't think he tried to be a good player. I mean, he wasn't a wallflower. He was trying to play the game. He had already played the bank and did better than anyone else has ever done and all that. But yeah, Poverty and David, the Australian Survivor guy, I just think they're solid players in this game. And yeah, I could easily see one or the other making it to the very end. It's going to be interesting if it's those two, who outlasts the other and makes it to the very end. I gotta say, we didn't spend a lot of time talking Deal or No Deal Line because so much other going on, but I've loved that episode, that this season again. It's amazing how much strategy they can build into a game that at the end of the day is all about randomly picking a briefcase, right? We did have in the last episode, I thought she was not going to take the deal when it was a 2 in 3 chance that she was going to survive if she took it. And but she went with the odds, which was more than we could say for the week before. At least she's making the best decisions on it. So yeah, it was a cool episode. And we didn't talk about Joe Schmo. I'm watching it on CBS. Misfire saying Joe Schmo has a new season. Yeah, we've been watching it. They've got to be getting near the end. I'm not going to say anything that's a spoiler on Joe Schmo because I know a lot of y'all haven't seen it yet. Personally, it's not quite as good as the first season that was from 15 years ago or so, but it's pretty good. They go overboard being silly. And when you're inside the game, you just kind of accept, no matter how, I sat there and hung from logs and ran across, ripped my clothes off on a jet ski. I did silly stuff as part of Big Brother. So for them to do the same thing on this show, even though it's all staged and fake and all that, this guy didn't know it. He thinks this is all a real competition, and they're just manipulating him and playing with his emotions so much and enjoying watching every bit of it. Sharon has asked me, she said, if you were on there, would you be happy or mad when you got out? And I don't know. On the one hand, I would be happy because it's guaranteed he's going to win the prize money at the end. So he's going to come home with some big bucks. But on the other hand, if I'd won Big Brother, for example, I would be so proud of myself for having survived, for having to battle out the mental, physical, everything. make it to the end and survive. I would have been on cloud nine celebrating. If someone had come up at that point in time and said, Cliff, it was all just a scam. It was all staged. We just did it to see how you would respond. It kind of pissed me off a little bit. I wouldn't be real happy about it. Now, the money would still be there. So, I'm not going to complain too much. And it does make you kind of the star of the whole season and show and all that. But yeah, I was proud of how I played Big Brother. I would have been disappointed if I found out it wasn't legit. But it is what it is. It's there's a show called, I don't remember what it was called. And I know we got shut down. There was a show where they had a whole bunch of dating show, and all these women thought that they were trying to date Prince Harry. And they were at a castle over in England somewhere. And there was a guy who looked like Prince Harry. And they kept saying, we can't say what his name is for legal reasons, but it's, someone. And they all just assumed it was him. And it wasn't. And that was kind of funny as well, because they were so certain that they were getting ready to potentially marry a prince and be part of the royal family. And yeah, not so much. I don't remember what this guy did. He looked just like Prince Harry, but he's a construction worker, something like that. So yeah, it'd be pretty funny. All right, Big Jake 88. Your background is fantastic. It's me, I'm Mario. Yeah, it's Mario Day. I couldn't take any particular reality show because there's too many out there. So I do a da-da-da-da-da-da. I spent a lot of time playing Mario Brothers, and none of that on the TV. Mine was at the arcades for a quarter per play. I like Mario, a little bit more of a Donkey Kong player when you get right into it. But I spent many. I got that little worm song there with the Mario theme. So yeah, happy Mario Day, and celebrate plumbers and Italian food. Maybe I'll have some spaghetti tonight. All right, guys, with that, it is 8:00. Actually, it's a little bit later. I'm glad we made it to the end. My screen froze 2 or 3 times, so I don't know what's going on, but we made it to the end. Thank you. Oh, so much going on with reality. It's fantastic. So, guys, first of all, Cliff Notes live again next Monday. So I will see y'all then. In between now and then, we got a lot of reality, but I'll be here next Monday to talk about all of it. So watch it. Give me your opinions. Let me know what you think. Send me DMs after these episodes on maybe specific topics you want to talk about, and we can bring up specifics on these different shows. I'm happy to do that. So send me some DMs. Meanwhile, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting the old thumbs up. And let me finish off with a big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love you guys. And I love reality TV. I may not leave this house. Well, I got to work. But other than that, I may not leave the house for the next 6 months, because now we got Big Brother after all this other stuff wraps up. Great time of the year. Guys, have a great Monday. Have a great week. I will see y'all next Monday. Until then, cheers, my friends. Bye. Yeah, I got that song stuck in my head. Dun, 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 dun.